Welcome to the Fearless Female Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Katerina Kormas, mindset and confidence coach for fabulous women just like you. I'm here to help you attract in more of what you desire in life and business. More wealth, more joy, success, confidence, soulmate clients, and all the abundance you can imagine. This podcast is all about your evolution to becoming the woman that has all she desires. This is where you become untethered from the fears and the doubts and the limiting beliefs holding you back right now, and instead embodying the mindset, beliefs, thoughts, and actions that will bring you to your next level goals, dreams, and success. If you're ready to step into your next level confidence and fearlessly create the life and business of your dreams, then you're exactly where you're meant to be. This is where you get your weekly dose of paradigm and mindset shifting insights that will help you change the way you see yourself and all you're capable of manifesting in your life and business. So if you're ready to get started, let's begin. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Fearless Female Entrepreneur Podcast. I am so excited for our conversation today. Today, I am welcoming Nicole Kepic. She's a conversion copywriter for coaches and creatives. And we had the pleasure of meeting, I think it was 5 years ago now, I think.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it went fast. We met 5 years ago randomly at a event in Toronto. I was there for a conference, and ever since then we have become friends, and she's written copy for me and she's absolutely amazing. So I'm so excited about our conversation today. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here because, like you said, we've known each other for a while and we chat all the time. So this is taking it to another level. Our
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is funny how we met. I don't know if you want me to touch on that.
Yeah. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, it was. Because I remember, I'm not sure where you were in your business, but at the time I was still working 9 to 5. So I was working for an agency in the Toronto area. And then I was part of Anya Runyon's, what was her group called? It was all about leaving the 9 to 5 and starting your own business.
Corporate rescue plan.
Yes. So I was part of that. And, I was still doing my 9 to 5 and having, I had a side hustle, copywriting for my own clients. And I was starting to think of like, maybe I could take, my business more than just a side hustle, but it was still like very early on thinking. And so I heard about this meetup in Toronto after the conference that you guys were going to be at. So I didn't go to the conference, but I was going to meet you guys afterwards. And I didn't even know you at this point. I just knew that there was a meetup. So this was the first one I'd ever been to, and I was excited for it, probably a bit nervous too, being that I'm an introvert, like this was in person. So I finished my 9 to 5 day, and then, I was kind of tired, like, I just kind of feel like going home and going, like changing into my pajamas, to be honest. But then I had to head the opposite way into Toronto, and the traffic was crazy, and it was like pouring rain. And then as I was getting off the highway, I accidentally rear-ended somebody, like just so lightly, like it almost didn't happen, but it was just like, are you kidding me? Like I should have just stayed home. So I rear-ended this guy very lightly, but it happened. And then it made me late, which is like, I hate being late for things. So all these things are happening, telling me like, just turn around and go home. Just, this is not worth it. But I did end up going. And I remember like kind of being shy walking in because I saw like everybody was already there sitting around tables. And then I can't remember if I sat beside you right away. I think it was later in the night. We sat beside each other and just started chatting. And I loved hearing about your story, how you had moved from New York to Texas. And we were just chatting, and I just like got such a great vibe from you. And like you were my first business friend I ever made.
That's so fun. Yeah. I was so nervous too. I'm such an introvert too. I was so out of my element at that conference. Like I would sit by myself or I'd sit near Anna, and there was so many people there. And then to do the meetup, I mean, we were there and she was there, but it was intimidating. But that was the first night when I talked to you. I'm like, I didn't know anything about hiring copywriters. And I'm like, I want her to write my copy. Like I knew, like you were the only copywriter I knew, and I was like, I want her to write my copy. I feel like she's gonna write my copy one day, and you did.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that, and I didn't know you felt that way. But the funny thing is, I still remember talking to you and telling you, I'm into 9 to 5 in the 9 to 5, and I'm thinking about asking my boss to switch from 5 days to three. Not even leaving my job, just like scaling it down a tiny bit, which seemed so scary at the time. And I remember saying, but I don't know if they're going to go for it. And I'm nervous about asking. And you were like, but what's the worst that could happen? They say no. And then maybe that's your sign. You need to look for something else. Like you had such a, like, what's the worst that could happen mentality. And I thought, yeah, that's true. And so eventually I did ask to move to 3 days a week, which I mean was such a baby step now that I think of it. I mean,
Now
I
that
should
you're
have
full
left my 9 to 5 years ago, but I didn't. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I went from the 5 days a week to the 3 days a week. And then, it just got so busy side hustling that I eventually had to choose one. And, obviously the choice was let's leave the 9 to 5 behind and go full time with my business. And then, yeah, we connected again because we kind of lost touch for a bit. And then I
yeah.
discovered Instagram for business, this whole other world out there of online business owners. And yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is yeah, I remember us connecting on there, and I remember you messaging me, like, "Do you remember
Do you remember me? I'm the Canadian. You met me in Toronto.
me?" Yeah, and you're celebrating your 1 year full-time in business, you just celebrated it.
Yeah, I mean, you're so good because you're always reminding me to celebrate stuff because I always forget to. But yeah, I side hustled for like 10 years, and I don't know, it wasn't most people would hear that and think, "Oh, you were just afraid to leave your 9 to 5." But it was more that like I liked my job and I loved the people I worked with. I was never in a position where, "Oh, I have to get out of here. I hate it." So it was partly that, and then it was partly like not really knowing that that other world existed. But finally, like I said, I did get to a point where I had a lot of freelance clients, and then I was doing my 9 to 5 plus commuting 2 hours a day. Like it was just plus family life. Like it was just so much. And I thought, like I said, one of these things has to go. So it was, yeah, December 2020. So yeah, 2021 was my first year full time in my own business, not working for somebody else. And
Yay.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so many things I could say about it, but it was
Yeah.
all the things.
Well, and I think that's such a great you're such a great example of that it doesn't have to be you have to jump off the cliff and do it. And I think a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people out there that encourage that, like just go out and do it. But I think you don't have to, right? Like you can start like, okay, maybe I'll just work part-time and do my business or start as a side hustle on the weekends and then gradually get to the point. I know I did that myself when I had my 9 to 5 job and then I was working every night and weekend giving massages. And then I got to the point where I booked that out and it's like, okay, you're on the ledge of like, okay, I have more clients. And so I can't do both anymore and I can't expand the one without leaving the other. And that's what I did. I quit my 9 to 5, but I got a side job. And then I grew my massage and wellness business and my coaching business. And then I eventually could leave the part time. But I think that's such a great example that like, you did the side hustle and then you slowly graduated into your full business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like we have similar stories. I mean, do I wish I had not taken 10 years? I definitely wish, especially joining Instagram and seeing like all these amazing business owners in their 20s, like starting their own business. It didn't even cross my mind back then to do that. Like I was so ingrained in you go to university, you get your 9 to 5. So I kind of wish I didn't take 10 years to do it, but yes, I'm all for taking your time and the timing being the right time,
Yeah.
because I look back, had I quit my 9 to 5 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had the same experience working on the brands and the clients that I had experience working on. My son would have been that much younger, and he, obviously demanded so much more time when he was a baby and a toddler than he does now. So like there's all the reasons to show that now is the best time, even
Yeah.
though I might feel like I'm a bit old entering the game. Yeah, the timing has worked out well.
Yeah. And that's really important. Like it is an evolution, right? I mean, we all have to get to the point where we have the aha moments. And I think hindsight, like, oh, I wish I had the aha moments. Like, me too,
Yeah.
right? I wish I wasn't in my 40s and now, like, I wish I was in my 30s and, I had more time to, put into it. But I was never in the mindset of that. And I think, yeah, it's an evolution. And then there is like, they call it divine timing, but I think it's when all the kind of pieces fit together and we become the person that's ready to be the person to have a business.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what the last year has been like because first year in business, I think when people start their business, they think, okay, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to get clients right away and I'm going to know exactly how I want the business to be run. And once I decide it's going to be great and it's all going to work, but they like leave out the part that there's going to be a lot of pivoting and a lot of learning and a lot of aha moments and that it's okay to pivot and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change what you're selling and what you're focusing on and who you're niching to. So what has that process been like?
Yeah, I mean, I feel so grateful because for most of last year, I was really busy but I'll explain how that was bad in some ways. I feel so grateful because copywriting, I guess, yeah, not I guess, but it is one of those things that most businesses need, right? Like most businesses need a website. They need copy for their social media, their website, their launches. Like I'm so grateful to have this skill that a lot of people need. So I was really lucky during the pandemic that I was still busy because, for online business owners, it's a needed skill. So that was great. The thing that was maybe not so great on my end is that I was still, because I was just going out full time on my own for the first time, like no paycheck anymore, that 9 to 5 paycheck. In those first few months, I think I said yes to more. I know I said yes to a lot more than I could handle. So I mean, I know it sounds like a good problem to have. I mean, I had projects coming in, but especially in the beginning, like I was working more than I ever did at my 9 to 5. I was just like not setting the best boundaries. I was working all the time, or when I wasn't working, I was thinking about my business. And I think it was also because I had done the freelance thing for so long, and by nature of the freelance thing, you're working nights and weekends because you've got your 9 to 5 during the day. So I was still kind of in that mode of, well, I'm just going to go on my computer for a couple hours at night and on the weekends, and like to the point where even my husband and son, kind of jokingly but kind of not, were like, "You're always on your computer," and that like really hit me hard because my whole like family is such an important thing to me, and that's that's why so many of us start our business, because we want more time for the people in our lives. And I didn't want to especially be one of those moms that was always on her phone, like that, just like, I want to be present for my family. So yeah, in the beginning I think it was probably a bit of scarcity mindset, thinking, okay, I have to say yes because I don't know what's going to happen in 3 months. Will I have clients? Like, what if all my clients disappear? But then I realized, no, you have to lean into that abundance mindset. And like everything has shown me that the clients always come. Like they really do.
Mhm.
And like I said, I feel so grateful for that, but the clients always come. So I just have to have faith that that's always going to be the case. And you know what? Even if it's not, even if I have a slow month, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe my soul and my mind need that. So
Yeah.
yeah, long story short, the beginning of the year and probably a good chunk of the year, I was probably working more than I should have. So this year, my goal is to, still be successful, but not so hustly, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. I remember when you were first, I think it was December of last year, you were talking about leaving. And I remember you saying, I'm afraid like I'll work 1 month and then what if nothing comes the next and then like and you knew ahead of time. I remember you knowing ahead of time like that you had a little scarcity mindset. Like what if I have a slow month or what if they don't come? What if I do, like and you already kind of prepped your mind, not prepped your mindset, but were aware of your mindset then before you even quit your job and jumped in.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure I thought that because, like I said, it's like I was so used to that paycheck every 2 weeks, and then, to dive in and then, just be reliant on people booking you. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's gone really well. And yeah, the niching is a whole other thing because it's so funny. Um, my some people will say, the female entrepreneur space, that's too big of a niche. You need to niche down more. But the funny thing is, and I'm totally for niching because I think it does position you as an expert. Like it makes you well known for that one thing. But even if I try to niche, like even if I say, oh, I really love writing for business coaches or mindset coaches, even if I try to niche, I still attract other people, like the most random, I don't want to say random, but like one week I could write for a business coach, the next week like a lawyer or an interior designer. And it's just kind of interesting that even when and if I try to niche, I still attract other female business owners because it's more the problem that I solve that I niche on. It's like the people I serve, they all have the same problem, whether that's they don't want to write their copy or they don't have time to write their copy or they want to make sure that it converts. Like it's usually one of those three things.
Yeah.
So it's not so much the audience that I'm really honing in on, it's that problem that I'm solving for people.
Yeah. I have my love hate relationship with the niche. I'm not too fond of the niche for that reason. I really think the more people you get to know and that get to know you, the more attracted to you and your energy, the way you write in this case, but also, for me, it's the transformation they get. And it doesn't have to be that they get the transformation in their business, they get the transformation in themselves. um and so I think that's a good testament to you in that you let your energy shine through so people get to know you and get to know your work and how you approach it, and they like how you write. And so, the more people we all get to know, the more chances there are people that we're meant to help, and it doesn't have to be in a niche. Niching, I
Yeah.
think, is like marketing, right? Like that's how you market something, but it's kind of like Disney. Disney has kid movies, but adults watch them too, right?
Yeah, yeah, you still attract people along the edges kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find like I think if I were to ever receive an inquiry from somebody where I was like, "Oh, this is really technical," or "I don't feel like this is my expertise," or "It doesn't light me up inside," I mean, I can always say no to that if I want to.
Yeah.
That's where I can pick and choose. But for now, like I really do love learning about all these different businesses and the people behind them. So yeah, it's nice.
That's fun. It's fun. So, what were some of the biggest shifts you've had throughout the year? Because it is an evolution, and you've learned so much about yourself this past year. What has that been like? Where has your mindset shifted? Where has your belief system shifted? What did you learn about yourself that you had no idea you were capable of?
Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, I have like mindset is always a work in progress for me, as you know. I
Everybody.
mean, yeah, I guess it is for everybody. Yeah, I definitely had some limiting beliefs. One that is kind of, I guess, funny, I don't know, interesting is that even though I had 20 years experience in copywriting, writing at agencies and for these big brands, when I entered the online space, and I started writing for coaches or seeing coaches online, that kind of thing. At first, I put coaches, business coaches, and mindset coaches on this pedestal, which I still do. I think they're amazing in all the right ways, but on a pedestal in the sense that I thought, ooh, like I don't know if I could write for them. They're so high up there. I think it's especially the coaches that were really talking about all the money they make or the money they make for other people. Like it just felt like, ooh, these people are out of my league. I don't know if they would hire me. And yet I have all this experience. So I don't know why I thought that. And then I've since realized, okay, they might be an expert at what they do, but maybe copywriting isn't their expertise. So, of course, they're going to hire somebody like me or another copywriter because that's not their thing. So, I had to reshape how I thought of, of course, still admire these people, but not to the point where I would be afraid to sell my services to them or feel inferior to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's it's a strange one. I don't know. I think it's part of it is Instagram. I'm on Instagram and I love Instagram, but I think yeah, sometimes that comes across over Instagram. So that was one of the things. Just kind of, I guess, owning my expertise and
Mhm.
you know just because. it comes easy to me at times, or, many times, like, just because it comes easy to me doesn't mean it comes easy to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, maybe I might have been afraid or intimidated to write for a doctor or a lawyer or a high end coach before, thinking, oh, wow, but look at their title. But they might not know anything about copywriting and how to sell their services and products in an authentic way. So that's where I come in.
Yeah. You fit that missing piece that they don't, that's your gift. They might not have that gift and you're the missing piece for them.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that was like a limiting belief I had to fix. And yeah, another one is kind of the age thing, right? Because I won't say my age, I'm over 40. And yeah, just coming on Instagram, especially where it's like everybody's so, not everybody, but a lot of people are young, and then thinking, ooh, like I just feel like almost like my age was a hindrance, when again, when you flip that story, my age is not a hindrance. It's actually an asset because I've had all this experience, and, it's helped me with my business now. So again, just reframing things basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Age was a big one for me, but not necessarily like, oh, am I too old to do this? It was more seeing all these coaches, mindset coaches and confidence coaches and business coaches who were a lot younger. And for me, it was, why did it take me so long? Like, why did they figure this out so much faster? Why are they more confident than I am? Like, that was like, oh man, I'm 40 something years old and I'm just figuring this out. And they're like celebrating their 30th birthday. And they're,
But I think it's just more, it's kind of like, like how when we were younger, this makes me sound so old too, but like, we put like baby oil on our skin because we wanted to tan better, but now it's like everyone knows, okay, you don't do that. Well, I would hope most people know that, so people are just so much better when they're younger about taking care of their skin. Whereas I was like, oh, I want to get a good tan. Like, let's get as dark as I can. Like,
that's so true.
it's
Yeah.
just the
I mean,
awareness level.
we didn't grow up with social media. I didn't have my first computer until college, like my freshman year of college. I didn't have an email address to my freshman year of college. Like, so so we didn't have social media. If you had a business back when I was younger, you used the yellow pages.
I can
It's,
totally relate.
I didn't grow up with the phone selfie thing going on.
Yeah, yeah, it was just totally different. So I think
Yeah.
it's just more like, um, they just are more aware of their options than
Yeah.
we were. Like, of course, we knew about entrepreneurship, but it was, yeah, it was just not something we really thought about.
When it wasn't really entrepreneurship, it was a business, right? Like when I look back at my dad's business, it was just his business. This, it wasn't really a part of the life journey kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like about growth as a person, whereas business has become not just business as an extension of you. Where I feel like in my dad's age, where he has a business, it wasn't necessarily an extension of him, it was his business. Like there was
Mm.
like a separation where now the industry is all about the personal growth and the mindset. And I don't think we had those tools. We had self-help books back then, like the old
Yes,
school self-help books.
yes.
Yeah. Back then, I mean, I'm not that old, but still.
I know we're
Mm.
making it sound like we're ancient. We're not ancient.
Let
You
me go
can't
get
see
my
us. We're
cane.
not ancient.
But I think there is something about our evolution was so different because it was a totally different time. Like, I think technology has advanced us as so much, not just in terms of business, but as people, because we have so much more access to information and to learn from people. Whereas without the digital age, or even in the earlier digital age, there wasn't that access to learn from you were still learning from library books, right? As opposed to being able to connect with people everywhere you go, every time you pick up your phone, you're connecting via email or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, right? And you're absorbing so much information, so you're growing faster, where we didn't have that. And I think that's where I get like, I look at people and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like 34 and making $25 million, right? Like, and she knows all this stuff and she's grown so much and I haven't, but that wasn't available to me when I was her age. To,
Yeah, absolutely.
that had to be my growth of dealing with my age. Is like, oh, I didn't have that capability then.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you always remind me and others, it's like you have to look back on your journey and think of all the things that have helped you get where you are today, and all the experience that you've had that now make you so much better as a business owner today.
Yes, I know.
Even things that are not related. So
It is so
whether,
true.
yes.
Everything's a growth opportunity. It's not something I I have a hard time taking my own advice. But yes, everything is definitely a stepping I see it as a stepping stone. Everything's a stepping stone to the next level you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, lots of, I'm trying to think what other mindset blocks I had. Oh, the introvert one. Yes, the introvert one is a big one because, yeah, I mean, I've like, yeah, now that I've seen so many coaches like yourself really celebrate introversion, I mean, I love it, but I kind of grew up thinking like, I was not like ever socially awkward or anything, but I kind of grew up thinking, oh, I'm too quiet. And I wonder if I um, make an impression or not. Maybe I'm too quiet. Maybe I'm forgettable. Like I just had these thoughts like I just needed to be louder. And that was reinforced in the 9 to 5 space too, because I remember having bosses say to me, like, you have such great ideas. You just need to be louder because people don't know you have these ideas. And it was always like, especially in big meetings with lots of people, you need to speak up more. You need to speak up more, which I hated. Like I'm fine one to one in small groups, but in these massive boardroom settings, it was just like, oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
And so I always kind of felt like my quietness was, what's the opposite of a gift? A setback.
A setback, yeah. A curse.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, like it was a curse or, something I should be ashamed of. And then when I entered the online business space, I slowly started celebrating it more and realizing that, I can still sell as an introvert. Cause that was the other thing I was thinking, well, I can't sell my services if I'm not loud and, really out there. But yeah, I've realized that no, the opposite is true. Like I can
Yeah.
absolutely sell my services and sometimes people appreciate a more authentic, less abrasive way of selling too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there's so many ways you can show up and express yourself, but not be like, here I am, look at me. It's
Yeah.
all about me. Look at me. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be pushy. Like there's so many ways to use Instagram, to use Pinterest, I think you do a really good job of meeting people in groups and getting to know people in groups and getting to know people one-on-one in the Instagram world, as opposed to seeing it as such like a massive platform. And that in all honesty, that's really the way it works, right? It's really you're only building a relationship with one person at a time. You're not actually building a relationship with 4 billion people on Instagram. It's only ever one person behind the screen. And so it's so funny because people introverts are, I'm an introvert too. It took me a long time to be like, even do a selfie of myself. So I'm like, oh, this feels so weird. I don't want to put myself out there. But when you think about it, like it's only ever one person on the other end, and you're really just letting them know a little piece of you. And that piece could be, hey, this is how I help you. It doesn't have to be showy, and you can find the best way that feels good for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I even think of, the people that I've either hired or have hired me. It's, you've talked about this before. It typically starts out as a friendship.
Mhm.
So DMs, but not cold DMs as in selling or pitching to each other, but just genuine, like, oh, hey, I like the picture that you posted, or, like meeting on a common ground.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when I look back, like those are the people who I've hired or have hired me the most versus, just answering a cold pitch in a DM. Like I hate those.
I know.
I
I don't
don't do
even know
those and I don't
why.
even know how to respond to those. I mean, usually when I get those, I still respond and I try to be nice, but I would never send those. Oh,
No, I get so many of them. And sometimes I just block them or just ignore them because I can't respond to every single one. And they're awkward. They're kind of like, you know what they're looking for, because they'd be like, how's your day going? And I'm like, I don't know you.
yeah, it's so weird. It's so
Yeah.
strange.
But the people I connect with the best are usually like, they'll have a Instagram story about a book they read. I'm like, oh my god, I read that book too, or I have that mug too, or simple things like you and I talk about chai lattes all the time in books. Like that's how I connect to people, because that's human to human relations. And I think it's hard because when you're a business and you're on Instagram, the assumption is you want to sell something. But a lot of times I just want to meet people. And I'm like, I just want to actually meet people. There are people I'll probably never hire that I connect with on Instagram that I just love to connect with on Instagram. And it doesn't have anything to do with business.
Yeah, to build that community and just have that support and friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like those examples you mentioned earlier of connecting with people, those are all non-business things when you're talking about books and lattes and, just random stuff or your mug collection. Like,
Yeah.
like it's just random stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's authentic. It can't
Absolutely.
be. I think most of the people listening on this podcast are, heart-centered entrepreneurs, right? They're not building corporate, Apple, Microsoft companies, right? It's their heart and soul dream. It's their dream. And so it's really, even if they hire staff or, they create a consultancy or an agency or, they have a business of 14 yoga instructors. What do you know what I mean? It's still their business. It's still their heart and soul dream. And so it's still a human connection. And
Yeah.
it's still part of who they are. And so I feel like that's the cool thing about social media now is that even your email list, like it's human to human.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and email's great for that too. I love email because then it is like a conversation one to one.
Yes.
So even though you're sending it out to the masses or how many people who are on your list, it's still very conversational. You don't have to write in a marketing way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That was such a big thing for me when I started my business because I was so used to hearing from corporate companies in email, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to
Yeah.
sound that boring.
Yeah. Well, then there would be a disconnect, right? If you send out an email that was super formal and rigid and corporate, and then, they speak to you on a Zoom like this, and they'll be like, oh, she's a lot more fun than her emails.
Than a
So,
really rigid, boring emails.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I love email because I love to put GIFs in my email. I love GIFs. I love just. I feel like they're basically memes, but in motion. And I just
Yeah. Yeah. No,
love
I love
them.
yours.
Trigger some emotion. Um, so looking back at yourself over the past year, how have you changed? How have you evolved from Nicole December 2020 to Nicole March 2022?
Yeah, I'll tell you how I'm trying to change more. I'm trying to step more into that CEO role versus, like I said, I still sometimes catch myself being in that freelancer mode where I'm doing any and everything. And so I'm just trying to like step more into CEO role, like actually spend more time planning for my business instead of just being totally ingrained in client work. So intentional time where, like I said, this is a work in progress where, I set aside time to do some big picture planning and where do I want my business to grow. Just do more thinking around that. Again, having more boundaries around nights and weekends working. Like I love working on my business. So on the weekend, if I want to do work for my own sake, like say I want to update my own website copy or go through a course or something like that, like I want the freedom to do that. I think that's fine, but I just don't want to be strapped to client work on the
Yeah.
weekends or nighttime. So that's, setting those boundaries. Um, just trying to think. Yeah, it's just really stepping into that CEO role more
Yeah.
so that,
Being able to
yeah.
hire help and stuff like that.
Yes, which actually I just did. A couple of
Yeah.
months ago, there's a designer who helped me with the graphics for my digital product. One of the digital products I released last year, Elevate Your Email Copy. So she helped me with the graphics, and that was just kind of like a one-time thing. And then she had put it out there in December or something like, "Oh, hey, are you interested in hiring out retainer for like VA type stuff, graphics, scheduling, and all that stuff." And at the time, I thought, I'll keep you in mind, but no thanks right now. I'm good. And then earlier this year, I thought, you know what? I would love to just be able to write my content and then give it to somebody, like have them do the graphics, even though I like doing that, have them do the graphics, the scheduling for my emails, social media. Um, so yeah, so then I contacted her, and so we're just starting out with like 10 hours a month, which I didn't even use last month because like I'm still getting a handle of how much time I need to outsource. Um, but yeah, so that has been a lesson in that, just stepping away from it, because
Mm.
for social media in particular, for Instagram, I just do my graphics in Canva and everything. And people would always say, "Oh, your feed is so nice. Like it looks so pretty." And I would feel so proud because I'm not a designer. I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like I like doing it. But then I thought, you know what? I could be using this time writing for clients or for my own business. I thought you need to let that go. Like you need to let that pride go. So
Yes.
yeah, now I have somebody who's just started doing the graphics for my Instagram too. So I still write everything, but then she'll do the graphics, and I'll write my newsletters, and then she'll schedule them and stuff like that. But so it's little things like that where I'm trying to step away and realize, yeah, you can't do everything in your
Yeah.
business. You need to get some help.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're stepping into your CEO role.
Yes, I know. I am.
It's a hard thing. That's one of the hard things about business too, because you step in not having the resources. So you're like, I got to do it all myself. And it becomes like a freelancer mode, right? Like you're doing the work. I got to hustle to sell to get the work, to do the things. But then you hit a limit on how much you can grow because you only have so much time to schedule the stuff and create the stuff and work with the clients and set it up. And eventually
Yeah.
you have to say who is that person I want to be? What do I want this business to do? And what are the steps I need to take to get there? And so, and I think it's a great tale, not tale, but like, the first year was a learning experience. And I think everybody wants their ducks in a row right away. And you really never have your ducks in a row because you have no idea what you're doing the first year. It's just like,
Yeah.
go out and do it. It's going to be messy. It's just going to be what it is. And then eventually you'll be like, okay, this isn't working. Like, I can't work this many hours. This isn't working. What do I really want this to be? And what do I need to do to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say I've always been a fan of outsourcing for, specific things that I'm not talented at. So I've definitely outsourced in the past. Like I've hired designers and branders and tech integrators. That's a big thing. Like when I was creating my digital product, having somebody integrate the member vault to the flow desk to the strike, like all that stuff, I was like, please do this for me, I cannot do it. So I've always been a huge proponent of outsourcing when it's not your zone of genius. So I've always done that, but those were always one-off projects.
Yeah.
Whereas this, hiring somebody more retainer, is like, oh, it's kind of like my first like hire, really.
Mhm.
It's getting consistent help because acknowledging that on a monthly basis I can't do everything that I was doing before.
Yeah. Your first team member.
Yes, and she's amazing, so yeah.
Yay. So what are the things that you had to release from your life, from your beliefs in order for you to fully step into your role?
um Geez, let me think about that one. Yeah, I mean, just some of the things we've talked about before. Yeah, just I'm not sure about releasing, but just really, I guess, valuing the service I provide. I mean, I've always valued it, but when it comes, okay, no, I have just thought of one. Scratch that answer. The biggest thing that I need to release and still am working on is getting out of people's wallets. So yes,
Mm.
scratch my previous answer. This is the one that sometimes, most times, if say I'm on discovery calls, I confidently say my prices because I am confident in them and I'm confident in the service I provide. But there are times when, um, like, I'll think, well, I know this person is also hiring a web designer, and they're also hiring a coach, and they're also hiring this person. So I don't know if they can also afford me. And it's like I just need to get out of their wallet. Like I don't know what's happening in the world, and I have to stop making those assumptions whether they can afford me or not.
Yep.
And in some cases they can't, in some cases they can, but I have to stop making those judgments before I've even sold my services.
Yep. Yeah. This was you and I talked. This is a huge one for me too. It's the could I have like getting in their heads like, well, if I was hiring all those people, could I also afford a copywriter? Or I did this with my massage clients. I remember I had one, and I don't know why I had raised my prices and I felt guilty. And I'm like, oh, can they really afford to come more than once a month? Like in my head. And then he's talking about all of his trips he was taking, vacations he was
Oh my
taking,
gosh.
and his job promotion. And I'm like, and I'm worried about like the
Oh,
$150. But it is hard, right? It's hard to like disconnect. Like you don't really know. You have to like let them make their own decisions and let them decide what's in their wallet, as opposed, because you don't want to put that energy out there of, well, I know you can't afford it, right? Like you don't want that
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
You want them to be like, yeah, here's the money. Thanks. Can't wait to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally respect that there will always be people in different stages of business. So some people genuinely won't be able to afford to work with us because maybe they're new or for whatever reason. And that's okay because I've certainly been in that spot before where like I'll have five different people I want to work with. I can't afford to pay five people at the same time. Like I just have to pick and choose depending on where I am in my business. So, some people will say, well, if they say they can't afford you, they're lying, they can. And I'm like, no, there are genuinely times when people can't afford to work with you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But then it also goes the other way where maybe people can't afford to work with you yet, but they will aspire to work with you. So there's nothing wrong with you, telling your prices. And then if they really want to, they'll make an effort or they'll save up if they genuinely want to work with you and see your value. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess the point is to not prejudge who can work with you and who can't because
Yep.
that's out of your hands. You just have to do what you do, sell what you sell, and then see who
Yeah.
comes to the table.
Exactly. Exactly. But I get it. I've been there.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because we care about people that we're serving, and
Yes.
we want to make their life easier and better. And I definitely don't want somebody to sign up to work with me if they're going to feel like anxiety about the
Hmm.
purchase or get stressed.
Resentment
Like,
or, yeah.
yeah, like it has to feel good for both parties.
Well, and I think part of it goes to the old bro marketing of like scaring people to buy that we've all been funneled into at some point, and we don't want to come across that way. We don't want people to feel like they have to, like scaring you into buying this thing, and then you're coughing over money and you're not happy. I mean, we've all been guilty of
Yeah.
like falling into the trap of that marketing. But I think there's like that subconscious level of like we don't want to be that, right? We want to make sure they're making the decision that's best for them. And for
Mhm.
me, that's like an underlying thing that sticks in my head. Like I don't want them to be resentful, and because I've been resentful in the past, I don't want them to feel like they have to invest right now, or you know
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't wanna pressure them or, be pushy or obnoxious, but I mean, just your very nature, I don't think that would ever happen. Um,
I hope
but
not.
yeah, speaking to that though, a lot of my clients, that's a big thing that they'll say to me is they want sales copy that doesn't sound salesy or obnoxious or pushy. And so, it's hard to believe that people still write that way, but I guess some people do. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, my whole goal when I write for people is to write in a way that makes the readers feel really good and excited about the purchase. And, you're solving a pain point for them and you're helping them, you're serving them. So it's
Yeah.
never from a place of like, buy this now or else your life will suck. Like it's not, it's not like that. So,
And your copy is nothing like that. Your copy is easy and fun and
oh, thanks.
captivating and draws you in. And it really does take the person reading it on the journey. You can tell they're sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, it's like she's in my head. She knows me. She knows this is what I'm feeling. Yes, she gets me. Oh my gosh, yes, okay. This is going to help me. I know it. I'm going to invest in it." Like that's the flow that you give and the energy you put out in your copywriting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the goal. I mean, that's why especially I love writing for other business owners because I can relate to so many things. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, like if I'm writing for, who was I writing for recently? Um, she does like ClickUp and Dubsado setups for people, like basically helping to people get organized and streamlined in their business. And it's like, I can so relate to this because when you don't have automations in your business and you're doing every little thing manually, like it's draining and you just
Yes.
you have a panic attack if one more thing gets added to your to-do list. So I love writing for people where I've been in their shoes basically and I can empathize. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You do it well.
Thank you.
So, what are a few tips you would have for female entrepreneurs just starting out or have been in business for a few years? Any quick tidbits you would give them?
Oh, geez. I mean, I would probably say to just like watch the comparisonitis. Like it's just, to look to others in your industry, of course, and build those networks, but sometimes you don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole of looking at what other people are doing in the same industry, because then you start thinking, oh, like you said, how come this person is so much more ahead of me, or they're making so much more money than me. Yeah, so I'm all for supporting other people in your industries. Like I follow lots of copywriters and I'm friends with lots of copywriters, but it's a slippery slope, right? You don't want to go too far into that world where you're comparing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and just really, I guess in your marketing, in your copy, just being yourself,
Mhm.
and just I mean that's all you can do, right? Because if you're trying to be somebody you're not, then it's going to be exhausting, especially if you're an introvert.
Yeah. And nobody's going to relate to you if you're not being yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yay. This was such a good conversation. I love
Yeah, it
it.
was.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
So, where can people find? First, I want to say you came out with something in the end of last year that I love. I actually printed out all your email template, the whole
Oh.
packet, and it's sitting on my dining room. And that is April's moment is going to be my revamping my email sequence, not my email sequences, but how I use my email. But you came out with that. You came out with that sales copy template. They're amazing. Like everything you've come out with is amazing because, as you said, like not everybody has all the gifts, right? Not everybody is gifted in copywriting and setting up systems and coaching and all that stuff, right? So I just want to say your email template uh, kit, I guess, is phenomenal.
Oh, thank
So
you.
glad you came out with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that one. So last year I came up with those two digital products at the end of the year because I was starting to realize, yeah, it's when you're just booking one to one, like you're very strapped to your calendar, right? So I wanted to create a couple digital products. Plus, like you said, it helps people who maybe can't afford a copywriter, but it also, it gives them the tools to do it on their own, but with some guidance. So the first one is Elevate Your Email Copy, because I just, I was in other Facebook groups and people were saying, like, I don't even know where to start with email. Like, I've got people on my list and I'm ghosting them because I don't know what to say. So, that kit has the welcome sequence, the 52 weeks of email topics and subject lines, and, a couple other things. And it also talks about how to sell an email in an authentic way. And then the other one is the sales page template and launch email template. So it's in a Google Doc, plug and play. So yeah, so if you don't have enough money for a copywriter to write your sales page, it's a good place to start.
Yeah, and the email one is like you give it away. Like you're basically prompting the story to tell, the subject
Yeah.
line, the call to action, and when you're so busy and you're spinning your wheels on like, what do I have to say? What do I say? How do I show up? I want to nurture the email, but then it's daunting because I can't think of what to say. Like this is like pick a prompt, close your eyes, pick a prompt. I get
Yeah,
it.
and I think people worry. I mean, it's funny because me too. Even as a writer, I'm like, what should I write about? And
Mm.
so I think everybody goes through that. And then some people also question, well, is it interesting enough, or will people care? Like again, it's like they're too hard on themselves, really. But
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have
yeah,
to be hard.
gets to be easy.
Yeah, and I mean, I would hope the people on your list too. I mean, if they're in your world,
Yeah.
I think they're a lot more forgiving than you think they are too, and they're just happy to hear from you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So where can everybody find you and follow you?
Yeah, I mean, my website is my first and last name, NicoleKepic.com. And then on Instagram, it's at NK Copywriting.
Okay.
I'm also on Facebook, but not really. Like I just have I have my original Facebook page. It's mostly just family pictures that I occasionally post on. So I need to figure out what to do to that. I feel
And
kind
now
of
you're
your
on Pinterest too.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I have just started. I'm in the process of, like setting up my first pins and stuff, and it looks like a giant beast of a project, but I think it's going to be really good. And I have that new support person to help me. So,
Yes. And I love Pinterest. I'm actually going back to using more Pinterest now.
yeah.
I
Oh,
like the I
great.
like the traffic I get from Pinterest.
Oh,
Um,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Less pressure on social media too, right?
Yeah, there's always traffic being driven even if I don't show up on Instagram.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, for being here with us today, for sharing the evolution and the realities behind business.
All the wonderful messiness of it, right?
Exactly. It's messy, but it's also beautiful because you're always moving forward. You're always learning and growing and becoming. Like a year and a half ago, you probably didn't even think of yourself as a CEO. And now you're like, oh, wait, I'm stepping into that CEO role now. I'm going to
Yes,
become her.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me too. I loved it. I love chatting with you as
Yeah.
always.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we'll have you on again to talk about copywriting.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you all next week. Bye. Hi there! If you're ready to be the woman that has all she desires, if you want to become untethered to the fears and limiting beliefs holding you back from taking action and showing up in your business, if you find yourself caught in a spiral of negative thoughts taking up valuable time and energy, thoughts such as, I'm not good enough, my family won't approve, what if no one buys, I'm not worthy enough, what if I raise my prices and no one joins my programs, I don't know enough. What if I fail? Maybe success isn't meant for me. Or any other limiting belief or fear, then Breakthrough is perfect for you. Breakthrough is a 2-week one-on-one coaching experience with me, where we dive into identifying and working through all that is keeping you from your next level breakthrough in your business. This is where we rewire your thoughts so you embody the beliefs, the thoughts, and the actions that'll bring you to your next level success and dream. Breakthrough includes one 90-minute call with me, plus 2 weeks of Voxer app coaching where you have access to me each day during the 2 weeks for coaching and support. So if you're ready for your next level breakthrough, click the link in the podcast description and let's get started.